Hello, everyone. My name is William Kuhn. I am one of the vice chairs of the California Water Safety Coalition, and it's my honor to welcome you to this webinar where we're going to talk a little bit about the month of May as Drowning Prevention Month, and some of the things that you can do in terms of getting a local proclamation in your city or your county, planning an event, and then really leveraging those two things to get some media and get the word out. So before we get started, I'm going to do some quick nuts and bolts here on the webinar. We are in a webinar, which means that your camera and your microphone have been turned off, but the chat is available. So please, it'd be great if you could introduce yourself in the chat right now and say hi. I'd love to hear who you are, who you're affiliated with, and then where you're tuning in from. And then just know that we are recording this session. So if you want to come back and look at something later, or if you want to share it with colleagues, we're going to post the recording of this session very shortly up on the California Water Safety Coalition website. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first block. It is so good to invite Marianne Downing to join us. Hi, Marianne. Mary is like a drowning prevention super volunteer with the National Drowning Prevention Alliance. She's a board member of the Prevent Drowning Foundation of San Diego and the Joshua Collingsworth Memorial Foundation. So Mary, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Anything for you, Will. You're awesome. Thank you for your leadership, really.
Awesome. So, okay, so Marianne, this whole thing on local proclamations actually was, proclamations have been going on for a really long time, both in the state and nationally. But let's start with what is a local proclamation. When I say proclamation, what are we actually talking about?
We're talking about a document that one of your legislative representative, one of your government, your mayor, your city council, a document that they use to really recognize a person or an organization or an event. You know, if it's your 100th birthday, if it's world's largest swim lesson day, if the Girl Scout troop went on it, whatever. But it's really, they're used to declare matters of local, regional, or even national importance. And so this is like from the city website, and issued to people or organizations. And again, for events that are occurring within that city or county or the area. Another thing that they are is they're really used to commend people and to recognize outstanding leaders, people that have a commitment, or organizations that are really doing good. It's for worthwhile causes, for worthy work. So a proclamation from one of your local officials.
Okay, got it. So it's basically official, like in the record, declaration that something is important, right? So why should drowning prevention advocates or those involved in water safety, why should we be pushing our local officials, whether it's a city council or the mayor or the county board of supervisors, why should we be doing this for water safety?
Oh, we should be doing it and doing it every year for lots of different occasions, because really it's a reason to just get drowning prevention and water safety awareness just out there, whether it's going to be read in the council chambers or if it's going to be read in front of a big event with 100 people at a pool or even in a parking lot. It's really another reason to promote water safety, to get the conversation going.
Yeah, it really, I mean, in our conversations about this, it really sounds like a tool just to get the word out. It's another tool in the toolbox to be able to get FaceTime in front of local officials or get media or whatever. It's just another way for us to say, hey, drowning is a really big issue in our community, and being safe around the water is important as well. So you have done this with great success in San Diego County over many years, both with the county and in the city. So can you just share a little bit about your experience in San Diego? What has that looked like for you guys in San Diego? And then how does this work, like almost like a quick step-by-step guide? How does it work from, I think we want to do a proclamation to, you're standing on the steps with the county board of supervisors. How do we get from those? one point to
Okay.
the other.
First off, big shout out to Nadina Rigsby. She started doing Water Safety and Drowning Prevention Month in like the 1980s with the governor from the state of California, and she's still doing it. So we love Nadina, and we follow in her footsteps. So how does it work locally? So think about your local community. Are you city-based, community-based, or county? The state's already handled. In our area, we have a group that we work with. It's the San Diego County Aquatic Council. And when we first started doing this 10 years ago, we were really serious about it. We like did a spreadsheet and what was the mayor's name and who's going to connect with them. And now we're sort of like, here's the template. Go ahead and make it the way you want to make it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same across the whole area. And sometimes it might be hit or miss. This year, we're going to have the Poway mayor accepted, or maybe it's El Cajon, or maybe all of them. So it just be flexible, get a template, make it short and sweet, focus on something that's important in your local community. Like this year, we're going to talk about water competency. We're going to talk about where's my card? We have these great cards from water safety cards that we're going to use as part of our proclamation to talk about the components and the tips for drowning prevention. So here's what you do. First of all, you get your group together, write an outline, contact whoever your local official is, and you can just go on the internet. Like you can go see Nathan Fletcher, the supervisor. He even has a template there. You just plug in the 6 components. He even gives you directions, 275 words maximum, 6 whereases. Anyhow, they usually accept it. Who's going to say no to water safety? Really?
Yeah, you're right. So we've got the template, and maybe Mike or Matthew can drop the link. We've got that sample template online, and we'll also post this with the recording. But we have a sample template for you. You go on and you customize it. How would somebody customize that template? You know, if I'm in Mendocino or Bakersfield or Carlsbad, what sort of things would I include to make it local in that?
We include statistics, and they're really jarring. Or there might be a story that's fresh on everybody's mind. We used actually 8 years ago when we did a proclamation with Marty Emerald, and you can put that one up, that you have the picture on the screen. It's the really super colorful one, not the mask one. That's the one. And we talked about that 42 children ages 1 to 4 had drowned and died from drowning in the last 10 years. And she used that statistic. It's shocking, but she used that statistic in other articles that she even wrote about after she became aware of it because of the proclamation. So grab some local county statistics. You have to do a bit. If you say 1 child drowned last year, you might want to expand it a little bit to get a 5 or 10 year picture. Use what's on your heart. What you think that your community and your leaders are going to really connect with. And then you have to meet them. Go ahead.
I really like the idea of using data, which is you can go onto the California Department of Public Health website and look up drowning statistics by county, which is really nice. So even if you are in, let's say Costa Mesa, for example, you could look up and say, there were X many deaths in Orange County or something like that. But I'd like pairing that with a story, especially if there's a story that has really impacted the community or been fresh on everybody's mind. And so coupling those two things together could work really nice.
The mom that you see in the blue shirt on the picture with Josh the Otter and all of those folks, that's Nikki's mom. And she told the story of Nikki's drowning in a neighbor's pool.
Yeah. So in another way too, I mean, like these proclamations going back to why are a really incredible way to honor families who have lost people as well, right? Okay, so we've got our sample proclamation. You go online, or a lot of cities or counties will have a form. If someone can't find that form online, any recommendations on, if they go on to type Google, my city name proclamation, just call someone. Okay, so usually
call the county clerk or call the county or the city. Somebody will know. And then you have to make contact. So after you make the contact, there's a little back and forth. They might not accept all of the things that you're saying, but eventually they're going to say, we love it. Let's get together. Do you want to come and pick it up at the mayor's office, at the city council meeting, or do you want to have an event specific for the proclamation? And then you just promote it. Get people to come to your proclamation party. Every day is a water safety party, right?
That's in your world. Yeah. Okay. So, so once you get the proclamation, or let's just go back and talk a little bit about the timeline. So it's almost May. I can't believe that it's almost May.
Time flies.
Time does fly. Is it realistic for folks to get a water safety month declaration in their city or county for May in the next, week, 2
Can you
weeks?
show the picture of the with us in the mask and the life jackets?
This one.
That one. So some places they want 2 months, based on what I've heard. On our mayor's website, 14 days. On Nathan Fletcher's website, he wants 4 weeks. So it just depends.
All depends.
But yes, you have time. Just throw it out there. What are they going to say? See you next year?
So
that would be fun too.
Yeah, that would be fine. And so maybe the other thing that I would throw out too is that even if, if you go onto your city's website and it says, oh, we want 4 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever, there are other alternative. I know a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year, the Orange County Board of Supervisors, instead of saying May, they said this is a water safety summer. So they just did the whole summer, right? Or, pick a day in the future. July 25th is International or Global Drowning Prevention Day. That would be one. That's a few weeks away. So don't get discouraged, right? If you go on and it says we need 5 weeks, just put it in there, pick a date, make it the summer, be flexible. It's all about just getting that proclamation so you can you leverage it to get to get that word out, right?
And get connected. Who's going to say no to water safety, right?
Yeah.
The picture that you see with Will was actually on Wear Your Life Jacket to Work Day. So if you can line it up with another event that's happening, and remember, they'll do a proclamation for an event like the world's largest swim lesson, or the birthday bash at Bud Kern's pool because it's 80 years old. So use proclamations, and you don't have to just stop at one a year. I found out that San Diego does about 700 proclamations a year, so we got to get some more proclamations.
Yeah, going. 750 next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in our last couple minutes, Mary, this has been so informative. Thank you so much. Any tips, any guidance for somebody who hasn't done one of these proclamations? If this is the first time they're hearing about it, what would be your, your one or two most important bits of wisdom as someone goes and tries to get this done?
First of all, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid that just because they're an elected official, that they're, living in some castle somewhere. They want to be out there with the voters, with their constituents, and they love to be seen as doing good work. And drowning prevention and water safety is maybe the best work that they can help you do, just to get the word out, to be with families, with rescuers and researchers, and just all across the board in the community. And honestly, it's fun. Don't worry about it. It can be fun. It's just a gathering. They're just a bunch of your friends and people. And it's also going to help you build your water safety coalition. People want to know what's going on. Invite the IPSA guys, the pool guys, and the Girl Scouts, and invite everybody, the lifeguards and the fire department. Because we're really all in this together, and it takes all of us.
I really appreciate you kind of ending our block on that piece, is that if you are going to go out and do a proclamation, and you are from a fire department or you are from a nonprofit organization, it really does serve you to reach out to the other folks in your community that are doing water safety work. Because if you can get a proclamation that is pushed for by the county public health department and the fire department and the local hospital and the nonprofit organization and the school, right? All these groups together speak much louder with one voice than several smaller voices. So Mary, thank you.
Exactly right. So we're all going to proclaim it together. It's Water Safety and Drowning Prevention Month. We're all proclaiming it.
That's right. Yeah.
So therefore, you're all deputized now.
Okay, so we're all deputized. We can go and get our local proclamations. Mary, thank you so much for providing really practical, helpful information. If anybody has any questions or wants to speak to Mary afterwards, I'm sure we can connect you. But we're really grateful for you, Mary. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move now from local proclamations to talking a little bit about local events. One of the things that has worked really well for Mary in San Diego and for others throughout the state is when this proclamation is official and finalized, they actually host an event to present it to the community. Now, those sorts of events can take lots of different flavors, and there's lots of different ways that these things happen. So we've invited 3 different panelists from different parts of the state to come and share a little bit about the sort of events that they run in their communities. The idea here is to give everyone just a couple of ideas. You don't have to copy. You can probably copy exactly what these 3 fine people are doing, and they would love that. But it's just to give you an idea and to give you some tips on what these different events look like. So it's really my honor to welcome Sara Biskie, the Executive Director of Stop Drowning Now, Leslie Schwene, a Marine Safety Captain with the Huntington Beach Lifeguards, and Mary Jo Quintero, the Pre-Hospital Liaison Nurse from the Emergency Department in Valley Children's Hospital in Fresno. So Sara, we're going to start with you. Can you just give us a quick overview of the type of event that you run in the summer? It's super fun. I've been to them before. So just give us a quick snapshot of what the Water Safety Challenge Day looks like. Oh, you're on mute. It wouldn't be a webinar if we weren't on mute.
Oh, exactly.
There you go.
I did it for everybody else, so everybody doesn't have to worry now. Okay. So thank you so much. Well, with here at Stop Drowning Now, we're really the resource for people who are already working in their communities to eliminate drowning. We have tools and support for aquatic professionals, task forces, municipalities, and educators as well. With our Water Safety Challenge, it's an incredible community event. It's that perfect add-on where you guys are talking about doing those proclamations and talking about water competency, because our event has a little bit of everything. So it utilizes resources from around your community, between hospitals, the politicians, the high school students, volunteers, from doing everything from life jacket stations, backflows, CPR practice, and going through water competency, as well as learning tools like reach and throw, don't go, and EAP plans as well for kids to be able to bring home and know what to do in case of emergency, as well as giving out water safety checklists. And again, it goes back to what Marianne was saying, it's all about awareness. So this campaign and the event is fun. It draws attention with our Safer 3 characters, which is safer water, safer kids, and safer response. It's that layers of protection. The nice thing about our Water Safety Challenge is, just like you were saying before, Will, you can kind of put your own flair on it. So what we had to do with COVID last year, and some incredible things that we're doing down in Orange County with their task force, is we were able to host a drive-through Water Safety Challenge. So we had over 10 cities in Orange County, California, that we set up the booths that you see here. Some did walk-through, some did drive-through, but we were still able to get water safety information out to those families without even using water, because again, it's awareness. It's constantly talking about it. Also, we mentioned that this event is for summer. This event you can actually do year round because you have all those options. Really utilize some of those indoor pools. It can be a constant. We give the kids a passport that kind of tracks what they can do with some of the water challenge activities, like how long they can back foot for, how far they can swim, and items like that. So it's a nice thing for the parents to actually visually see where their child is swimming wise. The best thing that I think that we can offer is that we have it all ready to go for you. We have the station ideas, the booth names. We also do co-branding, and that's something that the task force in Orange County has done an amazing job with. We have over 8 cities this year who are participating in the challenge on the same day, all doing it on their own little style, but all working together. And that's the health department, the cities, and lifeguards, OCFAs is very much involved, Chalk Hospital, Providence. It's amazing. And this year we also have the Inland Empire, who has started their own task force, who also have about 7 cities participating. So on pretty much one day in Orange County on the 21st, we're going to have over 16 cities running a water safety challenge using the Safer 3, which is phenomenal. So that's a little bit what we have. We're here to help. We want to give you tools. We have everything you need, and it's a great event. And the more people that can host them, the better.
Awesome. Thank you, Sara. So just to recap that, this is a prepackaged program that's like ready to go. Usually happens at a city pool. Usually happens with kids getting in the water, right?
Yes. Yep. And
Okay.
so usually you don't even have to use a city pool. So we have some swim schools that are donating their pool time to be able to host the challenge. We have some Park District community pools. We had Laguna Hills, who doesn't have a pool, are using the community center's parking lot for the drive-through expo. So really
Cool.
get creative.
Yeah, and very flexible. I love that. Awesome,
Yeah,
Sarah. Thank you. Okay, Leslie, coming to you. You guys run a really cool Ocean Safety Day event at Pier Plaza in Huntington. Can you just give us a snapshot of what that looks like?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. So we started doing this. We always did an open house every year to kind of showcase our equipment, just show everyone what we do as lifeguards, kind of just teach the public, hey, we're not just sitting out here in our towers. We are doing lots of different things. And so I took that idea with a couple of my coworkers and we grew it, and we decided to use Pier Plaza because it's a much more visible area. In the picture you can kind of see here, we were out of the we had a boat that was out of the water for a couple different years as they were getting it. Time worked perfectly that they had to put it back in the water. So they'd trailer it, stop with us for Ocean Safety Day, and then put it back in the water at the end of the day. But it just caught the attention of people. So what we do is we put our boat, our jet skis, our trucks, and all of our specialty rescue equipment up in Pier Plaza. And then we're open for throughout the day for people to walk through, come talk to us about different things, sit on the quad, sit on the ski. And then in the past couple of years, we keep growing it. So the last few years we've had Swim Brave has come with their mermaids to draw some more attention. We get our fire suppression to the part of our department to come down. And they showcase some of their equipment as well as go through CPR as people are walking through. We've also brought in some of the local agencies that we work with. So we've had Pacific Marine Mammal because we do see marine mammal strandings. So anything that you can think of that had to do with our oceans. And my goal this year is expanding. So we're going to call it Water Safety Day because I want to continue to expand it. So we're going to try to have a table with our community services department who teach our swim lessons. Great. We're going to have a table about our junior guard program specifically, and have information on all the different public education programs that we run throughout the year. So like our beach education, our SALT, which is a surfer awareness training, and just keep expanding it so that we can have more and more people, see what we do, but realize the only water, it's not just the ocean. We have the rest of the water on the other side of PCH to also consider. So we want to make sure people are doing that. We've lately been doing it on Father's Day because what we've found is, in May there's a lot of events going on, so I can't always get Pier Plaza, but in June I'll put it in, and we find that, a lot of people are out and about with their families on Father's Day. School's out, first weekend of summer. There's a couple of restaurants that do big brunches and people are just out and about. So we kind of find a Sunday or even a Saturday, but we have people walk throughout the day.
Awesome. Leslie, great description there. We have to give you credit. You've made this event something much bigger and much more robust than what it was a couple of years ago. So congratulations on doing that. I absolutely love the idea that the boat is just sitting there in front of the pier, and it is an awesome, it is a draw, right? Like I can totally see walking by with a family going, oh my God, is that the boat? And you walk over and all of a sudden your kids are talking to a lifeguard about rip currents, and then right there at the table is the place to sign up for swim lessons. So it's a really great event. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, up to the Central Valley, Mary Jo, coming to you. You run two really awesome events. Can you give us a snapshot of what those look like?
Absolutely. And this is two of many events that we do during the year. So the first one is what will be this year's 5th annual Kid Safety Day, and it's held at one of our local lakes here in Central California. It was organized by park rangers because of a drowning that happened at their lake. It features Valley first responders, all providing water safety tips for kids and families. It's held at the lake itself, and among other sessions, it features a life jacket trade-in event, which is always very popular. Now, the second event that I'd like to talk about is our Mayday, Have a Safe and Healthy Summer program. This annual event features multiple injury prevention messages that include different types of water safety messaging. We have between, yes, this is accurate, 2,500 to 3,000 Central Valley first and second graders who come, and it's held at a local stadium, which just happens to have a swimming pool in it. So that works out very well for water safety. The children and their teachers travel from booth to booth, and they're taught interactive injury prevention lessons that last between 5 to 10 minutes each. And everything is on the child's developmental level. At the end of the day, the kids each receive a backpack with a lesson book that is included. And the intent is for them to go home, talk about and show what they learned at Mayday with their families. We do allow the parents to come if they want to, but the caveat that goes with the letter that they take home talking about Mayday to get signed up with their classes is that there's not going to be teaching for the parents. It's all on the first and second grade level. Now, obviously in 2 minutes, I can't provide specifics, but I would be happy to share if you contact me directly.
Awesome. Thank you. Two great events. I remember the first time that you told me that you had 2,500 second graders. I went, did she say 2,500 second graders? Wow. So, okay. Three very different events from three kind of different angles, from a nonprofit, from a fire department, from a hospital. I want to go now to your kind of best tips, most important advice for folks who are either looking at planning an event for May or later in the summer. Mary Jo, if you were talking to somebody who is just thinking about getting an event, some sort of event going, what would be your biggest piece of advice for them?
So I think the first one is don't be afraid to try. The first time that we did Mayday was in 2005, and we had 240 kids that came, and we only took up a quarter of the stadium with their lessons. But we expanded each year, and we actually did have almost 4,200 kids one year, which was too big. The kids were, it was a fun event, but it wasn't the most interactive learning experience. So you're going to find if you do something annually that you'll make it better each year. The other thing that I would suggest is think of something that's going to be a draw. Leslie's boat. Oh my gosh, we are so doing that at Mayday. I already stole that from you right now. But we have, and you can see up in the corner up here, we actually have 5 helicopters that land center field for Mayday. And at the Millerton event, we have helicopters that come as well, and they land at different points of the day, which when people are bringing their boats or they're coming for a picnic, they can see the helicopter landing, and that gets people to join us.
Awesome. Leslie, pro tip, what's your advice?
I mirror what Mary Jo said. A lot of it, we've tried a couple different things, locations, times of the year, just figuring out what works, when are people going to be out and about. And we've definitely seen weather has a huge impact. You never know what it's going to be in June. So some mornings we start off slow and it picks up. But I think a big part for me has been I've gotten to network at a lot of these different water safety, drowning prevention events. And that's how I was able to bring in new people. So I have different groups coming in each year trying to get more and more involved. And then don't be afraid to ask the people who are working with you for the event. So for me, it's some of my other lifeguards. Hey, what do you think we could do next year? What did you find? Did you have a lot of specific questions that we can maybe tailor some of our public messaging for the rest of the summer about? What other things can we do to just improve it or draw more attention? We have had to do it without the boat because lucky for us, it's been in the water, which is great, but it's nice when it is up there because everyone can see it. And then they kind of get an idea, oh, we can explain, what it's doing when you see a boat driving so close to the surf line. But I'd say just, don't get, if your first year isn't that great, continue year after year, just see how can you improve, maybe find community partners who can help with it. And if you are looking to start one, maybe attend some of these any events that are around you to kind of get ideas or make connections, and then those people will be able to help you as well.
Brilliant. Thanks, Leslie. Sara, coming to you. What's your advice, guidance, your wisdom?
Well, again, like Mary Jo said, and Leslie too, it is that take that leap. Just actually print out the materials, read through it, and pick a date and do it. So those first couple ones, maybe nobody's there, but that is okay. Call it a soft opening. It's a soft run, get your practice in. decide what's more exciting to do. Maybe you thought the reach and throw booth was like super great, and then the volunteers did it and it was boring and didn't quite work and was hard to do. But whatever, you get to change it. And again, doing that year after year. So part of our No Drown Town program is we do require them for 3 years to commit to hosting the Water Safety Challenge at least once a year, because we know it's going to take a little bit of time for people to know what that is, know what it's events that they do want to go to, and that it's fun. And again, adding all those community partners with the hospitals and the fire department, paramedics. I think something that's, I'm actually based out of Chicago, and I'm coming out here a lot to Southern California. What I think is so amazing out here is everybody really does work together. Your guys' communities are very close and centralized. So everybody in those small towns knows everybody. And so start asking, ask for help. And the other thing too with volunteers, go to the high schools. Volunteers are there because they're all required to do volunteer hours to graduate. So call the swim team coach and say, I have an event. We just need them to put tattoos on kids or give out these water safety check sheets. We'll give them 3 hours of volunteer hours. And guess what? You got 10 volunteers for the day. So those are kind of some of the things that I like to do. And again, it really is just try it, pick that date, just like that proclamation, and start asking questions, and it'll be successful. And then even if one person comes, you're at least getting it to them and could save that life.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. From all three of you, I'm gathering, don't be afraid. It's okay. You're probably going to mess up your first, second, third, fourth, fifth time. So just learn from those and go on. And then the last thing that I'm really getting from all of you is these really are incredible opportunities to partner and collaborate. Like Leslie, I love what you said about you hosted the event and it actually turned into like a networking thing for you where you went, oh my gosh, that's the swim lesson person. We should get them here next year. Oh, this person was affected by, a beach incident. We should get them here next year. So these really are great events. Sarah, Leslie, Mary Jo, thank you so much for offering your thoughts and helping us kind of, picture what these events look like. This has been super helpful and we're really grateful for all of you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move on to our last block. And so one of the most important things about either getting a local proclamation or getting a local event is actually getting some media there so we can get the word out. So it's my honor to welcome Megan Ferraro. Megan is the executive director of the ZAC Foundation. She's also a vice chair of the California Water Safety Coalition. She's a committee member of the U.S. National Water Safety Action Plan Steering Committee, and she has a lot of other hats that she wears in the drowning prevention space. She's also a comms expert. She spent many years working in communications, and so we're very grateful for you, Megan, that you're here to share a little bit about media, getting media, what to say, and that sort of thing. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's been so interesting listening to all of the experts in California talk about the different programs they're running and learning more from Marianne about the proclamations. It's been a great use of the last 34 minutes of my day.
Awesome. So we have about 10-15 minutes, and I want to get quite practical here with you because you do have a lot of experience in this area, and I'd like to break our conversation into two parts. The first part is how to actually get media. And then the second part, let's focus on once you've got it, what do you say? What do you communicate? So for the first part, in terms of legacy media, newspapers, media, radio, TV, if you have no experience in working or reaching out to reporters or news agencies, where do you start? How do you go about that process?
Sure. So it's a little bit tedious at first, but if you do a good job at keeping records, it will pay dividends in the end. So what you want to do is research the local news desks. They're always looking for stuff to cover, events to cover, community events to cover, first responders, community leaders to connect with. And so you're really making their jobs a lot easier by notifying them about what's happening in your community. So if you simply call, give them as much notice as you can, let them know about an event that's upcoming, and then follow up with them every few days by phone and by email.
Okay, so I think there's a little bit of maybe some confusion and maybe some fear around a press release. Do you have to do a press release to do this? Is it a good idea? Pros, cons, work involved? I mean,
yeah. So yes, there's work involved. There's a ton of templates online that you can borrow against to write a media advisory, which is more of like basic information about your event, the who, what, why, when, and where. And then a press release is sort of an announcement of a big event or issue or policy statement. And so I think if you're talking about community level events, and media advisory is really what you're looking for. That's the most practical resource and tool that you can utilize. And as I said, you can Google and the Zach Foundation media advisories that you see, you're welcome to copy and paste and borrow whatever is most useful for you. And certainly having that on hand is helpful to email over to news desks. And like I said, including what the event is, where it will be taking place, when and why it's important for the news media to cover it are the key details that you'll want to include. And who's going to be there, right? Who can they cover? Is it going to be, pictures of smiling kids' faces? Is it going to be community leaders? Is it going to be engagement with first responders? Really helping to describe what the media will be covering will also help them understand what they should be sending out. Should they be sending out a live video, so that they can do a live shot from your event? Do they want to be sending out a camera, a still photographer to take pictures for their website or their blog? Don't be discouraged if you don't get a live media coming out and a reporter covering your event and kind of like coming in live. They can also cover it by blog. And if you're not lucky enough to get media to come out and cover your event, what you can do is follow up with them with pictures. So make sure that you're capturing images of your event and then send those images and a description of what took place. And oftentimes, like I said, you're making their jobs easier for them. They're constantly looking for content to keep their websites updated. So more than likely, they will post that content on their website.
You just described two really important things. One, describing what the event is going to be like. And I think it's so important to say, hey, we're going to be at a city pool. There are going to be a load of kids in the water, splashing, cannonball contest. And on the other side of the pool, the fire chief and the mayor are going to be there. Painting that picture, I think, is really helpful for the media. The other thing that you talked a little bit about was keeping track of the event yourself. Something we found actually in the water safety summit we did a couple weeks ago was that we got some news coverage based on the live stream. We had reporters that didn't even show up and they wrote stories on it. So if you don't get media and you are posting loads of pictures on Instagram or you write a recap blog or something like that, still don't be afraid to send that content out to media because you never know, they might pick it up afterwards. Is that
Absolutely.
Any other comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So it's being polite, professional, and then like I said, if they don't show up, and listen, there have been a ton of events that I've pitched media to come out to. I've gotten confirmations and then they don't show up. Why? Because there's a breaking news story. Someone got arrested down the street. There was a car accident. The president made an announcement and that just kind of catapults anything that you may have been working on. And so I think if you just stay consistent, follow up with that information, ensure that they understand what it is that you're working towards, and then keeping them, it's really about building and fostering relationships with those reporters as well. Oftentimes as we're going into cities and communities, we have reporters that have written about us in the past and we've fostered a relationship with them. Maybe we're staying in touch with them on Twitter or on Instagram, DMing with them directly, following up on a news story. Hey, this just happened down the street. You might find this interesting. Kind of building and fostering those relationships is important to long-term success and engagement with the media.
Awesome. Okay, so once you've kind of done that legwork, if you reached out, you have a reporter that says, okay, this sounds great, we're going to show up to your event, or awesome, this local proclamation has been announced, would you like to do an interview? A lot of times for that people who haven't done that sort of thing, that could be kind of an oh no, uh-oh moment. So what advice would you offer to folks who don't have a lot of experience talking with the media when you do get that opportunity, especially around these local events or these local proclamations? What are the sort of things that we want to say? What is the message we want to communicate?
So know that you are the expert in whatever story it is that you're telling. And so you are the water safety expert. And more likely than not, the reporter that you're talking to knows nothing about water safety or drowning prevention. So think about it as an opportunity to educate that reporter, just like you would be educating a parent or an educator. Ensure that your messaging is short, that it's simple, and that it's repeatable. So at the Zach Foundation, we talk about water safety and drowning prevention through the A, B, C, and D's of water safety. We actually have a children's book. Another thing I recommend is that you have something engaging and pretty either behind you, right, your logo or the sign of the event, or that you're holding it in front of you as a resource. So go to our website and look for this book, or go to our website and look for this, downloadable PDF, this water safety proclamation. Really having something tangible to show to the audience so that they're not just looking at you, we all have such short attention spans. So having, different dynamic materials that you can utilize, I think is really important. And don't get nervous. It's so easy for me to say that because I get nervous every time I do an interview. But I think if you can go back to that, that idea of everyone in the audience being in their underwear, well, just think about it as this reporter is not going to question you on any drowning prevention stats, on any drowning prevention messaging, because they're likely hearing about it for the first time. So think about them as an opportunity to educate, and think about how much they're scaling your message, right? So if you're in a room with 100 people, or wow, Mary Jo, 2,500 kids, that's incredible. Think about, the hundreds of thousands of people that your message is reaching every time you do an interview, because your viewing audiences, whether it's TV or radio or newspapers, is massive. And so you're really expanding the reach of your message by a huge multitude if you do these interviews. Don't give up those opportunities if you can avoid it.
Absolutely. A lot of times with media, there is an opportunity to show partnership or showcase the many different players involved. Can you comment a little bit on, an event like some of the ones that we just heard? Maybe is there any guidance or best practices for not hogging the media? I mean, is that make sense?
Oh, it does. Absolutely. In fact, when we were out at the California Water Safety Coalition, a reporter started asking me questions and I was answering them. And I was like, wait a minute, let me get Rob Williams over here. He would be better suited to answer your questions. It can be so easy for it to become a runaway train. And actually, your question brings up 2 points. The first of which reflects back to the press release media advisory conversation. And so if you are hosting an event with partners, it's always a good idea to share that media advisory to get their approval before you put it out in front of media. If you have a quote from a partner that you'd like to include, make sure that they've had the chance to approve it before it goes out. So that's just a best practice when you're working with partners, ensuring that everyone gets the chance to sign off on those materials before it goes out to media. I think the other thing is, you find yourself in a great engaging conversation about your message points and you see your partner standing off to the side, not having had the opportunity to be included. Pull them over, say, listen, my partner over here, my colleague, has a really great story about X or Y. It makes the story so much more rich to see more faces involved. And there have been a million times where I've gotten cut out of a news story and it's disappointing, but what's most important is that the message is getting out there and that you're saving lives every time that message is heard, whether it's me telling it or Rob or Julie or you or Marianne. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that message is getting across.
Awesome. Megan, super practical advice. Really grateful for your experience and your willingness to share these tips and the kind of the best practices with us. So thank you so much again for joining us. If you have questions on media stuff, if you've never done media before, I'm sure if you want to reach out to us, we can connect you with Megan or some other folks who are a little bit more experienced in that. I mean, we really would be happy to help. So any final thoughts, Megan?
No, thank you. And thanks to everyone for participating. We're really excited, and what an amazing way to kick off National Water Safety Month.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, everyone, with that, we are going to close the webinar. We've heard from some incredible panelists. Marianne did an awesome job of describing the proclamations. Thank you so much. Also to Mary Jo, to Sara, and to Leslie for sharing some information about each of those events. Again, this is has been a high-level snapshot view, giving you lots of different ideas about the things that you can do in your community. There's lots of conversations to continue, and we would be happy to keep chatting after this webinar. We are going to post this webinar, the recording of this webinar, very shortly. So with that, we will say thank you to all our panelists and those who attended. Bye, everyone.